The ocean does not rush. It sways, it sighs, it listens. And within its arms, dolphins move, not with urgency, but with purpose. Their sleek forms gliding effortlessly like wind through silk. The dolphin's story is not one of sudden drama or peril, but a tale of harmony, of family, of gentle exploration. Above the horizon, dawn approaches like a gentle whisper. Shades of lavender and gold stretch across the sky, mirrored in the slow roll of the sea. This is the threshold of the day, the moment the world exhales, and in its breath, the ocean stirs. At the edge of a shallow coastal shelf, where the water is warm and clear and alive with movement, a pod of bottlenose dolphins begins to wake. The ocean cradles them like a lullaby, paused, not broken. Beneath the shimmering surface, long bodies shimmer in the low light, fins twitch, eyes blink. Silence gives way to subtle sounds, the soft hiss of breath as dolphins rise to breathe, the faint clicking that signals their awareness returning. Among them is a young calf, no older than 2 months. Her skin is smooth, still lighter than her elders, and her eyes are wide with the boundless curiosity of youth. She stays close to her mother, mimicking each subtle move, the slight turn of her body, the roll of a dive, the timing of a breath. The mother is patient. Her name, marked in sound, is known to the pod. Her call is soft but firm, a harmonic curve that guides her child through the waking sea. The pod numbers 17. They are not always together, but today they gather here, close to a coral reef that has served as home, school, and meeting ground for generations. The older dolphins, marked by small notches and scars on their fins, silent tattoos of a lifetime, move with unhurried grace. Each breath is timed with precision, each movement deliberate. Dolphins are mammals. They do not breathe water, but must rise to the surface for air, a rhythm that shapes their entire existence. And yet, in this need, they have become masters of the deep. They know when to rise, how to dive, and how to hold the silence between each breath, like a sacred pause. No movement is wasted. The coral reef, a vast bloom of life, stretches below them. Colorful fish dart in and out of branching structures. Sea anemones sway like wind-blown silk. Turtles drift past with timeless calm. All of it forms a vibrant background to the pod's morning ritual. They begin with greetings, not in words, but in gestures. They swim in gentle circles, brushing fins, clicking soft bursts of recognition. Each dolphin has a signature whistle, a sound like a name, and these are shared in echoes that bounce like greetings in a vast underwater hall. As the morning sun climbs higher, spilling golden light across the surface of the sea, the pod begins to stir with a subtle shift in energy. The warm-up of the early hours gives way to movement with intent, not hurried, never frantic, but focused. It is time to hunt. In the great expanse of water that surrounds them, fish shimmer like living threads of silver. They dart and twist as one, forming shifting shapes. Schools that move with the precision of thought. The ocean, so calm above, is alive with movement below. For the dolphins, hunting is not a solitary affair. It is choreography, a dance learned over generations, passed through gesture, sound, and memory. They do not attack blindly, they strategize. The pod spreads out, forming a crescent that slowly narrows its arc. The younger dolphins mirror the older ones, mimicking their spacing and speed. The calf stays close to her mother, watching every subtle motion, each twitch of the tail, each turn of the head. Though she will not yet join the hunt, she is learning. Clicks begin to rise through the water, short pulses of sound, each one a beam of echolocation. These clicks bounce off objects, fish, coral, even one another, returning as invisible images that only the dolphin's mind can see. It is a form of sight far beyond what eyes alone can offer. In the murky currents, sound becomes vision. The fish can be felt as much as seen, their numbers measured, their speed anticipated. Suddenly, a burst of bubbles rises from one of the adults. It is a signal. The dolphins accelerate. From above, the scene would resemble a delicate net drawing in. The pod circles the school of fish, tightening formation with each pass. Some dolphins slap the water with their tails, sending shockwaves that confuse the prey. Others blow precise jets of bubbles, creating walls the fish dare not cross. Each move is executed in silence, save for the echoing clicks and the gentle whoosh of bodies slicing water. Then comes the strike. One by one, dolphins dive into the heart of the swirling fish, mouths open just enough to capture a few with each pass. There is no chaos, no frenzy. It is swift, clean, efficient. The hunt lasts mere minutes, but it feeds the pod for hours. When the work is done, the dolphins regroup. The calf, watching all from a short distance, squeaks in delight. Her mother turns, gently brushes her side, and offers a soft chirp in return, a lullaby of encouragement. Some dolphins rise toward the surface, leaping joyfully into the air, before slipping back below with barely a ripple. Others roll onto their sides, basking in the filtered sunbeams that reach through the water like fingers of light. In this moment, the sea is quiet again. The predators have fed. The prey has scattered. The rhythm of the reef resumes its gentle pulse. Far above, the sunlight continues its descent through the layers of blue. Time here moves differently, not in seconds or minutes, but in breaths, in tides, in the slow unfolding of presence. The dolphins float, their hearts steady, their minds alert yet calm. For them, the hunt is not a disruption of peace, but a part of it, a ritual of balance between need and restraint. The calf nuzzles her mother once more, then turns to follow the others. They begin to swim slowly, aimlessly, into the deeper reef. The lesson of the day has been absorbed, not through lecture, but through living. She will remember the shapes, the sounds, the timing. One day, she too will join the dance. And so, the pod drifts on, leaving behind no trace but the quiet stir of the water. The reef returns to its own rhythm. The ocean holds its secrets. Tomorrow, they will hunt again. But for now, they rest, weightless in a world where the sky lies below, and every sound is a story. Beneath the sunlit ripples and the cool shadow of waves, the sea holds its oldest conversations. Not in words, not in writing, but in tones, pulses, and vibrations. In this submerged world, where sight fades with depth, the voice of the dolphin reigns supreme. It begins with a whisper, a high-pitched chirp, barely audible to the human ear, carries through the current. Another answers, then another, and suddenly, the quiet of the deep is filled with music, not of instruments, but of life itself. Dolphins are born into a world shaped by sound. Their communication is not casual, it is essential. From the moment a calf takes its first breath and squeals into the sea, sound becomes its way of understanding everything. Its mother, its pod, the world around it. In the shallows of the reef, the pod swims in gentle loops. The calf, now more confident, chirps curiously at a nearby fish. Her mother responds with a low click, guiding her back. To the untrained ear, it might seem like noise. But to dolphins, each sound holds weight, nuance, and meaning. Their language is built of clicks, whistles, and burst-pulsed sounds. Clicks are used for echolocation, short staccato pulses that bounce off objects and return as echoes. From these echoes, dolphins paint mental pictures. They can detect not just size and shape, but even the density of what lies ahead. A fish is different from a rock. A human is different from a shark. A familiar pod member carries a different acoustic signature than a stranger. Whistles, on the other hand, are for conversation. Each dolphin creates its own unique signature whistle, a kind of name. Mothers and calves learn to recognize each other by these whistles within hours of birth. When a dolphin is lost, its pod will call out with repeated whistles, echoing its name into the sea until it returns. There are other sounds too, complex burst-pulsed emissions used to express excitement, annoyance, or curiosity. These sounds are rapid and layered, often used during close social interactions or when tensions rise, such as during competition or play. But dolphin communication is more than sound. It is synchronized swimming. It is fin touches. It is eye contact and breath shared at the surface. It is body language in 3 dimensions. To speak dolphin is to engage fully, with body, mind, and voice. Researchers once observed 2 dolphins solving a puzzle together with no audible sound. They moved in perfect coordination, one holding an object steady while the other retrieved a second piece. It was as if they thought as one, and in many ways, they do. The pod moves deeper now, into cooler water, where the coral gives way to soft sand. The clicks become more frequent, mapping the terrain. A dolphin ahead emits a series of descending tones, perhaps a signal of calm or reassurance. Another answers with a whistle that seems almost playful. The calf watches and listens, absorbing this invisible tapestry of meaning. The ocean carries sound farther than air. What a dolphin whispers in the morning can be heard a kilometer away by another. In this way, news travels. Warnings spread. Greetings ripple from pod to pod. Even mating calls echo across open water, subtle but compelling. And yet, for all its intricacy, dolphin language remains partially veiled in mystery. Scientists decode patterns, analyze spectrograms, and catalog whistles. But the emotional texture, the intent behind each sound remains elusive. It is not that dolphins lack complexity. It is that our understanding of intelligence has been too narrow, too human-shaped to truly hear them. Back in the pod, the calf makes a new sound. It is not quite her mother's whistle, not quite her own, a blend, a trial. Her mother responds gently, circling her in approval. The sound will become hers, shaped by repetition and recognition, a name she will carry all her life. And so, beneath the surface, the dolphins speak, not with mouths and grammar, but with presence. Their language flows with the current, as ancient as the sea itself. If you listen closely, not with ears, but with patience, you may begin to hear it too. The language of breath and bond, of knowing without saying, of being known. It is not a language we can own. It is one we are privileged to witness. In the quiet that follows, the sea is not silent. It is simply listening. The morning has deepened, and the water now glows with the full radiance of the sun, refracted into beams of soft gold that pierce the turquoise veil of the sea. The dolphins have fed. The young calf has practiced her patterns. The pod has spoken, has sung, has moved in concert. Now comes a time not driven by hunger or duty, but by something more elusive, more joyful: play. Play is not a distraction in the dolphin's life. It is a language, a tool, a sacred act of connection. In these creatures of grace and muscle lies a depth of intelligence so great, so expressive, that it often spills over in laughter, not human laughter, but leaps, spins, twirls, and games that ripple with lightness. Near the surface, the dolphins begin to leap. Not once, not twice, but over and over, as if caught in an invisible rhythm. One breaches high, curling mid-air before splashing down in a spray of foam. Another turns onto her side and slaps her tail fin against the water. The calf watches in amazement and joins in, awkwardly at first, but with growing confidence. These are not rehearsals. They are acts of joy. In play, dolphins test their bodies, challenge their minds, and deepen their bonds. They chase each other in circles, dart in synchronized spirals, and sometimes pass objects, seaweed, jellyfish, even small stones, back and forth like gifts or toys. Two young males begin a playful sparring match. They twist and bump gently, nudge with their rostrums, swim belly up in tight loops. There is no aggression in their movements, only energy, curiosity, and trust. Every move is measured, every bump a message. It is a rehearsal for strength, for cooperation, for life's challenges ahead. But play is not only physical. Dolphins play with puzzles. In captivity and in the wild, they solve tasks that would challenge many animals. They remember patterns. They learn tricks without being taught. They imitate behaviors after watching them just once. In one part of the reef, an adult female stirs the seabed with her snout, revealing a small school of fish. She pauses, not to eat, but to observe. Nearby, a juvenile watches closely. The older dolphin repeats the movement, then steps aside. The young one tries it too. It is a moment of teaching disguised as exploration, a game of learning. In another part of the sea, dolphins ride waves created by passing boats. Not because they must, not because it serves survival, but because it is fun. Because there is something in their spirit that delights in motion, in the push and pull of water, in the sensation of flying just beneath the surface. Scientists studying dolphin brains have discovered structures that suggest high emotional intelligence. Their brains are large, their neocortex well-developed, their social centers incredibly active. They recognize themselves in mirrors. They understand symbols. They even appear to grieve. But more than all these measures, it is their playfulness that reveals their richness. They are not machines. They are not automatons following instinct. They are sentient, aware, expressive beings who find pleasure in the world. The calf swims closer to one of the older females and mimics her role. The older dolphin emits a whistle of encouragement. They swim together for several minutes, tracing figure eights through shafts of light. The play is gentle, the bond unspoken. A ray glides past below. A turtle floats overhead. The sea is full of quiet witnesses to the dolphin's dance. As the hour stretches into the heart of the day, the pod slows. The bursts of energy soften. The leaping fades into drifting. But the feeling remains. The lightness, the connection, the echo of joy. In their play, dolphins remember who they are. Not just predators, not just swimmers, but beings of mind and spirit, of relationship and imagination. And as the sea cradles them once more, in its deepening stillness, their play becomes memory, Their memory becomes wisdom, and the water holds it all. To be a dolphin is to live fully, not just in body, but in thought, in feeling, and in joy. In the heart of the ocean, where light plays gently upon the waves and silence breathes like a pulse, a bond begins with breath. It is a quiet rhythm, primal and ancient, passed down through generations of mothers and calves. The bond of life shared between two dolphins, tethered by love, instinct, and the sea. The mother is steady. Her body is strong, her presence calm. Her calf is never far from her side, shadowing her every motion as if tethered by an invisible line of trust. She rises. The calf rises. She turns. The calf turns. She clicks softly. The calf answers with a squeak. It is a ballet choreographed by nature. Graceful, measured, serene. From the moment the calf was born, expelled gently into the water tail first, the mother has been her guide. She nudged her newborn to the surface for that crucial first breath. A gasp of air that marked the beginning of a new chapter in the story of the sea. That breath was not just survival, it was a promise. A dolphin calf is utterly dependent in its early months. It nurses from its mother, often every 20 minutes, drawing not only nourishment, but warmth, reassurance, and peace. The mother swims in gentle arcs to position her calf beneath her body, protecting it from currents, predators, even the harshness of the open water. And through it all, they communicate. The mother's signature whistle, a unique vocal fingerprint, becomes the music of the calf's world. She repeats it, often in the first days after birth, imprinting it like a lullaby. The calf listens, absorbs, remembers. That whistle will echo in her mind even after she matures, even when she no longer follows close. Even when the sea pulls them in different directions, they swim together through coral mazes and along the drop-offs of continental shelves. The mother teaches not through command, but through example. She guides her calf around sea urchins, through forests of kelp, and past shifting schools of fish. When danger appears, a sharp shadow, a sudden current, she moves between it and her calf, silent and resolute. She teaches her when to rise for breath, how to glide with the flow, how to listen with more than ears. The calf learns not just the movements, but the timing, the pause before a dive, the slow roll into a turn, the way to follow without touching, to stay near without crowding. Over time, the calf gains independence. She swims a little farther. She explores the edges of the pod. She imitates the games of older dolphins and tries her clicks in new combinations. But always, when tired, she returns to her mother's side, to the rhythm of her swim, the sound of her voice, the certainty of her presence. Sometimes they rest together in the quiet stillness of shallow coves. The mother drifts just beneath the surface, keeping one half of her brain alert, the other at peace. The calf hovers beside her, eyes half closed, body relaxed. There is no urgency, no tension, only breath and closeness, as calming as a heartbeat in the womb. This bond, though temporary in its most intimate form, leaves a permanent impression. Even when the calf grows and joins the larger social groups, she will remember the cadence of that first whistle, the weight of that first swim, the softness of her mother's flank against her own. Dolphin mothers are not hurried. They do not rush the learning. They offer space when it is needed, closeness when it is sought. It is a balance that echoes the rhythm of the ocean itself, steady, adaptive, enduring. And for the calf, there is comfort in this rhythm. She learns that the sea, vast though it may be, is not empty. It is filled with songs, with signals, with the guiding voice of those who came before her. In the open water, as the sun begins to dip lower and the world dims into shades of blue and indigo, the mother and calf rise once more to breathe. Side by side, they break the surface, exhale together, inhale together. Then they slip beneath, as though they had never been there at all. But they have, and the ocean remembers. The bond of breath is not only between mother and calf, it is the thread that weaves generations together, that ties instinct to memory, that sings of care in a language deeper than words. And in that quiet connection, the dolphin finds her beginning, her strength, and her place in the sea. Beyond the coral reefs and the warm shallows of the coastal waters lies the deep blue. Vast, mysterious, and seemingly endless, it stretches in all directions like a breathing canvas of liquid sky. This is not a place of constant shelter or daily certainty. It is a realm of movement, of distance, of quiet power. And yet, for dolphins, it is also home. As the sun climbs its arc and begins to descend, the pod drifts toward the open water. They do not fear it. They know its patterns. The deeper sea is a place they visit not with trepidation, but with reverence. It is here that they travel, migrate, and sometimes simply explore, driven by instinct, memory, and the pull of the horizon. The water grows cooler as they leave the protection of the reef. Its colors deepen from turquoise to sapphire, from azure to violet. Light fades gradually until it is no longer scattered in golden threads, but becomes soft, diffused, and blue as breath. There is no ground here to follow, only the infinite shifting of the current, the invisible highways carved by the moon and the wind. The dolphins move with quiet confidence. In the open ocean, there is more space to swim, more water to fill with sound. Their clicks grow sharper, their whistles more purposeful. Echolocation takes on a different tone here, traveling farther in the absence of echoing reef walls. The sea opens itself to their perception, becoming not emptiness, but presence, a living map of pressure, temperature, salinity, and sound. Here, in the blue desert, their intelligence shines in new ways. Navigation is not guided by sight, but by memory. They recall subtle gradients in the water, the scent of plankton blooms, the position of the stars above. They follow thermal boundaries, underwater ridges, and ancient paths passed down from dolphin to dolphin, year after year. The pod moves as one, yet each dolphin has space to drift, to spiral, to glide in long arcs beneath the waves. The calf swims closer now, sensing the change in energy. Her mother hums a reassuring tone, her signature whistle pulsing in steady rhythm. Occasionally, they encounter other travelers, a pod of pilot whales moving in synchronized silence, or a group of seabirds diving for prey at the surface. The dolphins approach with curiosity, sometimes swimming alongside these distant cousins of the sea for brief intervals, exchanging glances, perhaps even a few tentative chirps. Food is more dispersed here, requiring patience and teamwork. The dolphins dive deeper, chasing squid and fish that shimmer like stars in the twilight of the sea. They surface less often now, timing their breaths with the rhythm of the hunt. Each dive becomes a meditation, a moment between two worlds. But the open ocean is not only for feeding, it is for journeying, for growing, for remembering who they are without the landmarks of home. It is a place that strips away distraction, leaving only the essential: breath, movement, togetherness. At night, the sea becomes velvet. Bioluminescent creatures light up like constellations beneath the surface. Dolphins leave trails of light as they swim, their bodies surrounded by glows of green and blue. It is as if they are writing their story across the sea in light. The stars shine above, distant, cold, but familiar. For thousands of years, they have guided the migrations of creatures who never touch land. And somewhere deep inside the dolphin's mind, that guidance lingers. They do not follow a compass. They follow knowing. In the deepest parts of the sea, the pressure grows immense. Light fades to black. But even here, dolphins venture. Not for long, and not without caution. But they descend, test their limits, and then rise again. Back to the air, back to the sky. The open ocean is not a place of fear for the dolphin. It is a proving ground, a teacher, a song sung in longer notes, and when the pod finally turns back toward the coastal waters, they carry with them something changed. Not in body, but in presence. A stillness, a strength. The calf, now tired, swims near her mother. Her eyes blink slowly. She has seen a world without walls. She has felt the pulse of the deep. And she has returned. As they cross back into shallower waters, the light brightens, the sounds soften, and the reef appears like an old friend on the horizon. But something lingers from their journey into the blue, a memory of vastness, of quiet, of what it means to move forward with trust. The deep ocean holds no secrets from those who listen, and the dolphin listens well. Even the ocean, vast and ageless, has its hush. As the sun dips low on the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of amber and lavender, the sea begins to shift. The currents slow, the winds soften, shadows lengthen beneath the waves. It is a time between motion and stillness, noise and silence, day and night. For the dolphins, this is not a time of withdrawal, but of slowing, of changing rhythm, of breathing differently. Nightfall does not bring sleep in the way it comes to land-bound creatures. Here, in the fluid world of the sea, sleep is not surrender. It is balance. The pod gathers once more, drawing close in the open water. Their bodies move in tighter arcs now, more subdued, more deliberate. The calf nestles near her mother, their skin touching with the gentlest pressure, as if anchored not by gravity but by love. In the world of dolphins, true sleep is impossible. To remain alive, they must breathe, consciously, with awareness. And so they rest with intention. One half of the brain remains awake, alert to danger, to breath, to sound. The other half sleeps, drifting in waves of restoration. This unique adaptation, unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, lets them float at the surface, motionless but vigilant, or swim slowly while letting part of the self dip into rest. It is sleep with one eye open. It is rest with a memory of the sea still humming in the background. Above them, the sky darkens into deep blue, then black. Stars appear, one by one at first, then all at once, as if drawn out by the breath of the ocean itself. The moon rises pale and full, its light dancing on the water like silver threads. Below, the water becomes a mirror. Each movement is reflected, each sound more distinct. The sea at night is not silent. It is simply deeper. The clicks and whistles of the dolphins are fewer now, more spaced, more intentional. A low pulse, a single tone, the murmur of presence. Some dolphins hover just below the surface, rising every few minutes to exhale a soft mist of air, then slip back down with barely a ripple. Others swim slowly in pairs, synchronized, steady. Even in sleep, they do not let go of each other. The calf rests in her mother's slipstream, following the rhythm of her breath as naturally as a shadow follows form. In the quiet of the night, the ocean reveals different secrets. Bioluminescent plankton light up with each movement, tracing glowing trails behind fins and tails. Jellyfish float like slow lanterns, squid dart and vanish. The world becomes softer, stranger, more intimate. Occasionally, a distant sound echoes, a whale's song in the deep, a wave breaking far away, the low hum of the earth itself moving through its tides. The dolphins do not fear these sounds. They have heard them all their lives. In the night sea, sound is memory, and memory is comfort. Rest is not only for the body, it is for the soul. In the dark, the dolphins replenish not just strength, but peace. They do not dream as we do, at least not that we know. But they seem to hold something close in these hours. A stillness that carries meaning, a silence that listens, and yet life never fully stops here. The sea does not sleep. Somewhere beneath, fish still move, currents still flow, light still flickers from the deep. The ocean remains awake, even when the dolphins rest. As midnight passes and the moon begins its descent, the pod continues its gentle drift. The calf breathes slower now, her movements minimal. Her mother circles once, brushes her side, and then takes her place beside her again. No words, no signals, only understanding. The stars reflect in their eyes. The ocean holds them like a cradle. And for a few hours, the dolphins live in the space between waking and dreaming, aware and asleep, floating in a world that never truly rests. In the morning, they will rise again. But for now, they are still, breathing, listening, resting in a waking world. Morning returns without sound. The sea, kissed by the earliest light, stretches wide and slow, and the pod awakens within it. Not all at once, but in waves. A fin surfaces. A breath exhales. A single click ripples outward. The dolphins are stirring. They move together again, not in formation, but in relation. The calf swims closer to a young male she's begun to trust. He clicks softly, spins once, and she follows. There is no lesson planned, no chore to complete, just presence, just friendship. In the dolphin world, social bonds are not limited to blood. They extend outward like currents, linking individuals across age, rank, and history. The pod is a tapestry woven from thousands of small gestures, greetings, games, moments of rest, shared paths through the sea. These connections can be long-lasting. Dolphins have been observed to maintain friendships for decades. They recognize the calls of companions even after years of separation. They seek out the same individuals again and again, drifting away and returning like tides. Two older females swim together now, shoulder to shoulder. They've raised calves side by side, navigated storms, crossed open seas. They are not related by birth, but by bond. When one pauses, the other does. When one surfaces, the other follows. This is the language of trust without words. In another corner of the group, two adolescent males chase each other in slow, spiraling arcs. Their play is boisterous, but careful. They nip and dodge, flash their bellies, slap their tails. But every move is calibrated. Not to dominate, but to understand. They are testing boundaries, strength, patience. They are building the foundation of a partnership that may one day help them navigate the complexities of adulthood. These male pairings can become alliances, duos or trios that hunt together, explore together, even court together. These relationships can last a lifetime. They are built not on convenience, but on choice, on familiarity, on the echo of shared time. The calf watches, absorbing all of it. The shifting clusters, the laughter-like bursts of clicks, the gentle brushes of fins. She is learning that the ocean is not just filled with life, it is filled with relationships. Dolphins form their social circles in layers, immediate bonds like those between mother and calf, peer friendships like those of juveniles who grow up together, and broader networks, associations that stretch across pods, across miles, across seasons. It is not chaos. It is not hierarchy. It is community. And at the center of that community lies empathy. Dolphins comfort each other after distress. They return to injured friends, hovering nearby. They take turns in leadership, adjust for the vulnerable, slow down for the young. This is intelligence not of machines, but of hearts. Scientists have observed dolphins cooperating with other species, working with fishermen in some parts of the world, playing with humpback whales, even guiding lost swimmers to safety. Their social instinct is not confined to their own kind. It spills outward. As the sun climbs higher, the pod disperses slightly, each dolphin taking its own small path, yet always aware of the others. A whistle from one side of the reef brings a response from another. A sudden flash of motion draws others to investigate. They are apart, but never alone. The calf, now bolder, swims in a wide arc and then loops back. Her mother is near, but watching from a distance. Trust has roots, and now it has wings. In the sea, family is not only who you're born with, it is who you swim beside, who you listen for in the dark, who you remember even when they are far away. The dolphins do not name this truth. They live it. And in their living, they remind us, connection is not only about survival, it is about joy, comfort, meaning. It is about seeing and being seen. It is about knowing that in the wide, deep world, you are held, not just by the sea, but by each other. Long before maps, before compasses, before the stars were named or the moon charted, the sea sang. It sang in waves and currents, in the hum of the deep, in the voices of those who call it home. Among them, dolphins have become master listeners, creatures who move not by sight alone, but by sound. In their world, sound is not just communication. It is memory. It is orientation. It is how they know where and who they are. As the sun arcs above and the reef stretches behind them, the pod moves into deeper, more open water. The calf is older now, bolder, more curious. She no longer clings to her mother's side, but swims a body length away, exploring with her own echolocation clicks. She is learning to listen not just outward, but inward. She is beginning to hear the sea the way dolphins do. A dolphin's echolocation is nothing short of extraordinary. With a series of high-frequency clicks, they send out bursts of sound that travel through the water, bounce off objects, and return as echoes. From these echoes, a dolphin forms a picture. Fluid, three-dimensional, detailed. It is a vision not of color and shadow, but of texture and density, of motion and shape. But sound for dolphins is more than vision. It is memory. Each reef, each coastline, each channel has its own acoustic signature. The way the waves strike the rocks, the echoes from a distant trench, the muffled roar of shifting sand. These are not random noises. They are landmarks. As the pod swims through familiar territory, The older dolphins make soft pulses and whistles, marking their passage. These tones are not only signals to each other, they are reminders to the self. The water here sounds like home. The calf listens and begins to imprint it into her mind. Years from now, she may return to these same waters and recognize them not by sight, but by sound. Navigation is not a matter of lines and direction. It is a memory of vibrations. Dolphins remember the call of distant bays, the shape of submerged mountains, the silence of the deeps. They remember the songs of their own pod, the way voices carry differently in open sea versus coastal shallows. When the sea is calm, sound travels fast and clear. When stormy, it scatters. Dolphins adjust. They know when to click and when to wait. They adapt their calls to the environment, shaping their songs to the sea's mood. It is an acoustic dance, a constant adjustment. Each pod develops its own vocal culture, a dialect of sorts. Their whistles and clicks and pulses are shaped by place, by heritage, by usage. Like humans, they have regional accents. Like storytellers, they pass them on. The young calf tries a new whistle, shorter than her usual, with a rising pitch. Her mother responds with a click and a curved glide around her body. It is not a correction. It is an acknowledgement, a memory being made. Sound also allows them to find each other across distances. If a member of the pod strays too far, a whistle, unique to each dolphin, calls them back. If the group is spread out, they send low pulses to track each other through the murky blue. Each sound is a thread, holding the pod together even when apart. And sound, too, is comfort. The ocean can be vast and solitary, but a familiar click in the distance, a recognized tone, is a reassurance. I am not alone. Scientists have recorded dolphins remembering artificial sounds played to them decades earlier. Their acoustic memory is long, perhaps lifelong. It is a living archive, stored not in books or markings, but in the mind. The calf's world is expanding with every chirp, every echo. As twilight approaches, the pod slows near a series of seamounts, underwater peaks rising like cathedrals from the ocean floor. Here, the water sounds different, deeper, hollow, resonant. The dolphins click softly, mapping the stone shapes with sound. They know this place. Their bodies relax, their movement slows. They circle once, then twice, adding another layer to their mental map. The calf drifts through the middle of the group, tracing the echoes. To her, it is new. To the others, it is remembered. The sea has no signs, no names, no borders. But to dolphins, it speaks clearly. It sings in currents, calls in tones, and through sound, they know it. In the end, it is not just the sea that sings. The dolphins sing back, and in their singing, they leave behind a map made not of ink, but of memory. A song passed from mind to mind, from breath to breath, from journey to journey. In the vast blue that stretches between coral reefs and continental shelves, dolphins are rarely alone. Though the sea may seem empty at first glance, it teems with travelers, each with their own rhythms, languages, and secrets, and sometimes their paths cross. On a warm afternoon, as the pod drifts between feeding grounds, a shadow rises in the distance. Larger than a dolphin, slower, steadier, a humpback whale migrating north, flanked by a calf of its own. The dolphins pause in their path, not out of fear, but out of curiosity. A few clicks are exchanged. The whale responds not in kind, but in resonance. A deep, drawn-out note that pulses through the water, like the toll of a distant bell. The calf is entranced. She swims closer, circling once, twice, staying near her mother. The whale does not startle. It rolls slowly onto its side, revealing an eye that glints in the filtered light. There is no danger here, only presence, only acknowledgement. Encounters like these are not rare. In different regions, dolphins meet and interact with sea turtles, manta rays, sharks, and even human divers. They adjust their behavior accordingly, sometimes playful, sometimes cautious, always observant. With pilot whales, they may swim in parallel. With rays, they may mimic their movements. With curious seals, they may dance. But not all encounters are gentle. When sharks appear, the pod becomes alert. Dolphins are agile and quick, able to defend themselves with strong social cohesion. They do not flee blindly, they communicate. They group together. Sometimes they chase the threat away. Still, the sea is more often a place of sharing than of confrontation. And in those moments, brief, weightless, when different beings recognize each other, something beyond instinct is exchanged, a kind of kinship. The dolphin calf returns to her pod, her heart still humming from the whale's song. She has learned something not taught but felt, that the sea holds many lives, and each life echoes differently. The sea is not still. It moves always, pulled by the breath of the moon and the heat of the sun, by the spin of the earth and the tilt of its seasons. These movements form rivers within the ocean, currents that stretch for hundreds, even thousands of miles. And it is within these unseen streams that the dolphins travel. Migration is not a single event, but a rhythm. It follows food, warmth, breeding grounds, ancestral paths. Dolphins do not carry luggage or draw maps. They carry memory, inherited, embodied, echoed in sound and sensation. As the season shifts, the pod begins to follow a subtle change in temperature and salinity. The fish they favor are moving, and so must they. The older dolphins lead, not with orders, but with direction felt in the body, in the familiarity of the water's song. The calf notices the change. The days grow longer. The water feels different against her skin, less dense, more open. The current tugs gently, and the pod responds, slipping into its flow like leaves caught in a breeze. They travel at a steady pace, not rushed, not wandering, intentional. Along the way, they revisit familiar seamounts, valleys, and deep ridges. Each landmark is known not by sight, but by the way it sounds, the echo it sends, the silence it holds. At night, the stars shine above, and though the dolphins cannot see them, their ancestors once swam beneath the same sky, guided by forces only partly understood. There is a map in the blood, in the bones, in the ancient schooling of experience. They pass other pods, sometimes exchanging whistles across the distances. Some they've met before, some are strangers. Yet each pod, like each current, has its own voice. After many days, the water warms again. The reef rises like an old friend. The fish return in schools. The cycle is complete. But migration is not a loop. It is a spiral. Each journey adds to the memory. Each return is a little different. For the calf, this was her first true migration. She will remember not just where they went, but how it felt. The flow, the voices, the pull. The currents that carry are not just water, they are story. And the dolphins ride them with trust, with breath, with belonging. The ocean, in all its splendor, is not always serene. Though much of a dolphin's life flows with rhythm and grace, there are times when the sea rises up, tempers shift, and silence gives way to thunder. Storms, when they come, arrive without warning. But the dolphins, ancient children of the water, know how to listen long before the first bolt strikes. It begins with a shift in the pressure, a restlessness in the currents. The sky darkens above, and the water below churns in anticipation. The pod, once scattered and relaxed, gathers tightly. They move as one, driven by instinct and communication, not in fear but in readiness. Rain hits the surface in heavy drops, turning the sea into a tapestry of ripples and noise. To human ears, it might sound like chaos, but to dolphins, it is information. Each splash and roll carries data. How far the storm reaches, how fast it's moving, how deep its roots go. The calf presses close to her mother. The comfort of touch, of known presence, is more valuable now than any sound. The mother emits a soft click, low and steady. It is a lullaby in the storm, not to silence the fear, but to wrap around it. Dolphins dive deeper during storms. Below the tumult, the ocean is quieter, more stable. There, the pod waits. They conserve energy, navigate cautiously, avoid shallows where waves might break too harshly. They do not panic, they endure. And when the storm passes, they rise again, slowly, cautiously. Light pierces the clouds like a promise. The sea still swells, but its fury is gone. The calf surfaces, breathing deep, tasting the changed air. She has survived her first storm. In time, she will understand that storms are part of the sea's language. Not punishments, not enemies. Just change. And like all change, they require attention, adaptation, and calm. From the stillness that follows, the world feels renewed. The pod clicks in soft rhythm, reconnecting, retelling the experience. Each one has learned something, even the youngest. The ocean holds memories. Every trench, every reef, every quiet expanse carries the stories of those who have passed through. Some are celebrated with song, others are remembered in silence. Dolphins, too, grieve. There was a time when the pod was larger. A cousin, a friend, a brother, lost to age, to illness, to the long jaws of a predator. No great cries marked their passing, but the pod remembers. The calf swims near an old reef, one they haven't visited in some time. Her mother pauses here. Her clicks change, softer, slower, mournful in their own way. The others circle briefly, sending low pulses that barely rise above the current. It is not ritual, it is memory. Dolphins form bonds that last years, sometimes lifetimes. When one is gone, the absence lingers. It lives in the spaces they once swam, the sounds they once made, the paths they once led. Scientists have observed dolphins carrying their dead, sometimes for hours or days, nudging the lifeless body as if trying to wake it. Some stay nearby, reluctant to leave. It is not mere instinct, it is attachment. The calf does not understand death fully, but she feels the change in mood, the way her elders move differently, the way they linger here a moment longer. She hears it in their silence. The sea is vast, and yet no loss goes unnoticed. A space once filled by a familiar presence now holds an echo. And in that echo, memory lives on. They do not forget. They go on. But in certain places, on certain days, the ocean sounds just a little different. And in those moments, even the waves seem to remember. The calf swims on, held not only by the present, but by the quiet, pulsing memory of all who came before. In the gentle cadence of the sea, where currents move like time itself, learning unfolds not in classrooms, but in currents, gestures, and echoes. For a young dolphin, every day is a lesson. Every ripple, a teacher. The calf has grown. Her movements are more confident now. Her clicks more frequent, more precise. But still she watches. Still she follows. The pod is her school, and its members her mentors. Learning begins in imitation. She mimics the leaps of her older siblings, the dives of her mother, the spins of her playful uncle. When the pod hunts, she follows at the edge, observing how they encircle fish, how they coordinate without confusion. When a trick is successful, she tries it. Not always with grace, but always with enthusiasm. Her mistakes are met with patience. A wrong turn, a missed fish, a clumsy approach. No one scolds. Instead, another dolphin might repeat the gesture, slower, clearer, guiding her gently. She learns more than movement. She learns tone, timing, when to call and when to wait, which sounds mean, follow me, and which mean, stay close. The pod's communication is rich, layered, filled with nuance that unfolds slowly in the mind of the calf. She also learns the sea itself, where the safe coves lie, where currents change, where predators linger. The stories of the water are passed down not in words, but in root and rhythm. Learning never ends in the ocean. Even the elders adjust to changing tides. But for the calf, every lesson is new, each day a step in a long swim toward knowing. And in the hush of the deep, knowledge flows like water, fluid, constant, and kind. At first glance, a dolphin pod may appear unordered, its members weaving in and out, surfacing at will. But beneath the surface, there is structure. Not rigid, not harsh, but present. A living harmony built from trust, memory, and quiet understanding. The pod moves as one, not because it must, but because it chooses to. Within it, each dolphin has a role. Some lead with experience, others support with vigilance. Mothers tend to calves. Younger dolphins pair off to play, to challenge, to grow. Hierarchy among dolphins is subtle. It shifts with age, with need, with context. Leadership is not dominance, but direction. The elder female often guides the pod's course, her memory sharp with past migrations. A strong male may take the front when predators appear, offering protection through presence alone. Disagreements exist, but they rarely lead to violence. Instead, dolphins resolve tension through space, through gesture, through sound, a sharp whistle, a quick turn, a moment of silence. All speak volumes in the language of the pod. Play helps maintain peace. Through games, dolphins test boundaries, form alliances, build trust. What seems like joyful chaos is, in truth, a foundation for community. The calf, now more aware, begins to see these patterns. She knows whom to follow when food is scarce, who plays rough, who calms the group with a nudge or a gentle pulse. She learns not just how to swim, but how to belong. And so the pod remains strong, not by force, but by rhythm, by unspoken agreements, by a shared pulse of life. In this harmony, the calf finds not just safety, but identity. She is part of something larger, something ancient, something wise. A family carried by water and bound by breath. Memory travels differently in the ocean. It is not written in ink or etched in stone. It flows, held in sound and instinct, passed from one generation to the next through movement, repetition, and rhythm. In dolphins, memory lives not only in the brain, but in the body, the breath, and the sea. The young dolphin remembers the bay where she was born, its warmth, the shape of the coral, the way the light filters through the shallows. She remembers her mother's lullabies, sung in quiet clicks beneath the moon. She remembers the first time she breached the surface and saw stars. But memory is not just recollection, it is guidance. When the pod returns to feeding grounds or safe coves after long journeys, it is memory that leads them. When an older dolphin senses danger in a certain current, it is because he has felt this before. When a mother teaches her calf the path through narrow channels, she is sharing a story shaped by survival. Some memories are joyful, of play, of discovery, of shared songs. Others are heavy, of loss, of storms, of absence. Dolphins mourn. They linger beside the bodies of their dead. They carry grief in their silence. Still, they go on, because memory is not an anchor, it is a current. It moves them forward, deeper into the wisdom of the sea. For the young dolphin, each experience becomes a new ripple in the long story of her kind. The sea does not sleep. It breathes, it pulses, it sings. And within it, dolphins play a quiet but vital role. They are not just swimmers or singers or hunters. They are keepers of balance, threaded into the web of life, like silver threads in a tapestry of blue. When dolphins hunt, they shape the movement of fish. When they chase, they test the agility of the sea. When they gather, they stir the energy of the reef. Their presence signals health, connection, motion. Dolphins feed on fish, squid, and crustaceans, but not greedily. They take what they need. They move on. And in their movements, they help disperse life. They stir plankton. They awaken hidden rhythms. In this way, even their play has a purpose. Other creatures respond to them. Sea turtles turn toward their clicks. Seabirds follow their wake. Even whales sometimes shift their course. It is as if the dolphins carry a message, unspoken but felt, that life is near and flowing. And yet, this balance is delicate. The oceans face noise, plastic, heat. Ships echo too loudly. Waters rise. Food grows scarce in places once full. Dolphins adapt, but they are not immune. Still, they endure. Because life endures. Because the sea, despite its wounds, remembers how to heal. In the quiet push and pull of waves, dolphins remain guardians of harmony. They do not rule the ocean, but they listen to it, respond to it, honor it. The young dolphin, now older, senses this, not with words, but with feeling. She swims not alone, not aimless, but as part of something vast and beautiful. The ocean breathes, and she breathes with it. Beneath the surface, beyond the shimmer of sunlight and the hush of waves, lies an invisible tide, the current of emotion. Dolphins do not only swim and feed and play, they feel. The young dolphin has grown into herself. Her calls are sure, her dives deep. But more than that, she has learned what it means to care. She nudges a younger calf gently, shielding him from the rough play of the older juveniles. She stays close to her aging grandmother, echoing her calls with tenderness. She waits for friends who fall behind. Dolphins know joy. In their leaps and spins, in their games with seaweed and bubbles, in the shared breath between siblings, there is laughter. Not the sound we know, but the feeling of delight echoing through every gesture. They know comfort. When a dolphin is injured or ill, others stay close. One will support the body as it floats. Another may sing low notes, soft and sustained. They stay until the danger passes, or until it doesn't. There is grief too. A mother may carry her dead calf for days, circling in silent mourning. The pod swims slower then. Less play, more closeness. Emotions guide choices. Who to follow, when to rest, whom to trust. bonds are not bound by blood alone. Friends emerge, pairs that remain close for years. Their calls blend in familiar ways. They know each other in the dark. For the young dolphin, this sea of feeling is as real as the salt around her. To be a dolphin is to move not just through water, but through warmth, through empathy, through connection. One morning, the sea is flat as glass. The young dolphin approaches a boat, curious. Its hull is mirrored, and as she circles, she sees herself. Her eyes pause. She turns, slowly. Then again. She clicks softly, watching the reflection ripple back. Is it another dolphin? Is it her? Dolphins have passed the mirror test, a rare trait shared with great apes, elephants, and magpies. When shown their reflection, they explore it. They twist, look, check marks on their bodies. They seem to know, what does it mean to recognize oneself? In dolphins, it may begin with curiosity, but it expands into choice, into intention. They plan, they teach, they innovate. One dolphin may use a sponge to protect her snout while foraging. Another may imitate the call of a whale just to see what happens. In captivity, they play with tools, create rhythms, invent games. Awareness is not only of self, but of others. A dolphin knows when another is watching, knows when to lead, when to follow, knows when a pod member is distressed, knows when the sea has changed. To be aware is to wonder, to remember, to imagine. For the dolphin, the mirror in the water is not a moment. It is a lifetime of realization, of knowing that she is part of the world and separate from it, of feeling her own breath and recognizing its rhythm in another. And in the stillness of that mirrored surface, she sees not just a dolphin, but a being alive, with thought, feeling, and quiet wonder. In the beginning, the ocean was a place of song. Whales murmured in the distance, fish flicked their tails like soft percussion, and dolphins sent their clicks and whistles across the deep blue, tracing the outlines of their world. But now, the sea hums with new sounds, some steady, some sudden, many unfamiliar. The dolphin glides through a channel she knows well, but something feels different. A low drone pulses from far away, the propeller of a passing ship. It cuts through the water like a blade, masking the echoes she sends to explore. Noise pollution is one of the most pressing changes in the ocean. The constant hum of human activity, cargo ships, sonar tests, drilling platforms, alters how dolphins hear, how they find food, how they stay together. She clicks louder now, lengthening her pauses. She must wait for a window of quiet to reach her calf, to hear her pod. Some dolphins adapt. They change frequencies. They move to quieter waters. Others struggle, growing more isolated, more anxious. And yet, even here, dolphins persist. They explore. They endure. In moments of stillness between the noise, they return to their songs. The ocean remembers its own rhythm, and the dolphin, though altered, continues to navigate with grace, hope, and the deep wisdom of sound. It happens slowly. First, the distant thrum of engines. Then, a shape above, a boat. Then faces. The dolphin watches from below, curious. Humans lean over the railing, pointing. Some call out. Others drop cameras or hands into the water. She circles once, cautious, then again. Dolphins and humans have long crossed paths. In stories, in myths, in science. In some places, they are companions. In others, mysteries. There are moments of beauty. A diver floating still as dolphins swirl around him. A pod, guiding lost swimmers back to shore. Children laughing as dorsal fins leap through the sunrise. There are moments of harm, nets that do not see, plastic that does not dissolve, curiosity that becomes capture. But there is also hope. Sanctuaries, marine protections, people who listen. The dolphin does not judge. She cannot. She simply watches, feels. Today, the humans do not follow. They wave. They drift. They let the dolphin go. She dives deeper, not in fear, but in knowing. The land and sea are not separate. The breath they share is the same. And as she returns to her pod, the shoreline fades, but its presence lingers. A reminder that worlds touch, that understanding is possible, that peace, perhaps, is within reach. The dolphin swims beside her pod, the currents warm and familiar. The sea, ever shifting, carries whispers in memory of places visited, dangers overcome, joys shared. She is no longer a calf. Her mother now follows her lead. Her breath is steady. Her eyes see far. She remembers the first fish she chased, the first storm she braved. The echo of her grandmother's songs, now silent, still lingers in her. These echoes are more than memory. They are wisdom. In the open sea, she leads a younger dolphin toward a sheltered bay. Not with force, but with presence. Her movements signal safety. Her calm becomes contagious. In her, knowledge flows like current, soft, strong, unspoken. The ocean, too, remembers. Its floor bears tracks of migrations. Its reefs hum with the songs of generations. And in this vastness, each dolphin becomes a note in a long, deep melody. To grow old in the sea is to become part of its story, to carry the tide forward, to guide gently, even in silence. And so the dolphin swims, her path both familiar and new. She is a keeper of currents, a bearer of wisdom. Night has returned, slow and soft. The moon casts a silver road across the water, and the pod swims beneath it like shadows of light. The dolphin slows. Around her, calm, a rhythm of breath, of gliding fins, of soft whistles that taper into hush. One by one, the pod begins to drift into sleep, half a mind resting, the other keeping watch. She floats now, close to the surface. Not alone, never alone. Her calf sleeps at her side. A friend nearby sighs, bubbles in her slumber. The sea, vast and quiet, holds them gently. In this moment, there is no chase, no call, only stillness, only peace. The dolphin exhales, inhales. The night listens. And as stars shimmer overhead and the water breathes with life below, we leave her here, safe, loved, enduring, forever part of the deep blue song